Starts from pole position. Just wonder whether Aleix Espargaro might have had some kind of late pre-race problem. It looks like he's got away 23 degrees ambient temperature. They could not have picked better conditions to get endless here. Since 2014, Suzuki have never had a podium here before. Will the 8 months or so, who will be the king of Qatar here tonight? Well, we're about to find out as the riders sweep through a championship in history. It looks like the most unpredictable. Motogp has it all. Indeed it does. Who is going to be going for?
Well, contenders everywhere we look. Tyre choice absolutely crucial. It is very difficult to look past Marc Marquez despite that record that he has, and we will wait to see just how potent that Suzuki will be on this start-finish straight. We've bridged that gap. We're about to have all the answers.
Gets set, he's got his man Jorge Martin on pole position for the 5th time in MotoGP. We've been racing in the Premier Class since 1949. The green flag about to be waved at the back. It's lights out and lift off for MotoGP in 2022 in Qatar. Not a bad start for the poleman Jorge Martin, although it's Honda's who lead.
From Brad Binder, who's up into 3rd place. He's trying to go right around the outside of Marc Marquez. The two gained at least 4 places, and he's got both factory Ducatis and the poleman behind him.
Pol Espargaro leading on a 15th place, as Lewis said. The two factory Ducatis just completely missed the start. Already getting aggressive, keeping his tyres in good order. Do not discount Joan Mir. Was that Martin trying to recover the lost ground he made off the start? It was a poor start from Martin.
Ticket for the Repsol Honda team. Pol Espargaro leading as Fabio Quartararo makes progress. This is just the first lap that Quartararo needed, up to P7 from 11th on the grid.
Yeah, already getting wheel spin on that medium. Might be easily picked off. The Yamaha's been about anything between 10 and 12k slower. Brilliant by the Quartararo. He's got underneath the Yamaha man in the final corner at turn 16.
Leading from Marc Marquez. Is Marquez going to go through immediately? Up the inside of his teammate he goes. Pol Espargaro doesn't fight it too hard. Who would have expected Brad Binder?
Pol Espargaro to take the lead back. Excellent first lap. Excellent start for Brad Binder. We've always said he's a Sunday man.
Absolutely. He's ahead of Enea Bastianini, who is the leading Ducati on the road. Dropped 6 places to 19th. The Ducatis just did not get away.
That's been a shocking start to 2020. Rear tyre on was Brad Binder now. That should pay dividends, you'd think, in the second half of the race. How much will Pol Espargaro? That's what so many people told us in the paddock so far this weekend. It's going to be all about the last 6 or 7 laps and who's conserved the tyres the best.
Pol Espargaro looking good at the front of this race. Joan Mir, though, is Joan Mir is able to hold the slipstream, and he's able to hold Enea Bastianini behind him, although Bastianini is the fastest rider on track.
Well, Bagnaia and Miller need us 1:54.953. That's the best lap of the Grand Prix we've seen so far. Fair play to the Italian. It's the
first few laps of the race to make his way through the pack. He's got all the Ducatis behind him. He's got Alex Rins just closing in. Rins is one of those who are expected to make progress through this race.
Something on Sunday, he had a bit of a sprinkling of the old Valentino Rossi magic, didn't he? He's coming under pressure here, though, from Joan Mir. Can't show his front wheel to Mir. There was Aleix Espargaro then, still in 6th place, ahead of Fabio Quartararo.
Are able to run this pace. He said yesterday after qualifying that was as good as he had. That was as much pace as he had to qualify 11th on the grid. And at the moment, he's finding this pace a little bit.
10th place on this lap. Here comes the Suzuki. We would not have seen this in the recent years. Will be a Suzuki nudging, 355 kilometres an hour. Jack Miller is the engine, the rear ride height device. That Suzuki, without any question, is back as a championship contender this year. Rins then now up into 8th place.
Yeah, Ducati aren't really getting the fastest lap of the race. That was only a 10th faster than the riders ahead. Here comes Joan Mir again, having a look up the inside. Brad Binder does made the beast just behind him.
Binder crucially has been able to go for that medium Michelin front tyre as well, which gives him that with their acceleration. They've got that better throttle connection. They've got more mechanical and electronical grit, and races in this MotoGP pack as well. So Mir's got his hands full here.
Yeah, a bit of a queue now forming behind Pol Espargaro. Marc Marquez did show a wheel, of course, early on in the race. Bold at the front. We'll have to wait and see. Fabio Quartararo still starting to get a little bit detached. He's got Pecco Bagnaia closing in on him. Ducati.
Argo's not getting away here. He's not trying to get away as well. So he's just managing this pace. He's very, very wary, very conscious about her in 3rd place. Mir 4th. There's not been too much overtaking in this lead group. They all seem pretty happy to hold station right now and just let the
tyre. Expect him to come good in the end of the race. A little bit wide there for Joan Mir as he comes under pressure from Enea Bastianini. But yeah, we're in a bit of a holding pattern. Good start at all. He's down outside the points in 16th.
Yeah, a bit of a horror show as well on the opening night here for Jack Miller. It hasn't last year, of course, and all the gossip and speculation about his future place in the factory Ducati team with hungry young riders like Martin and Bastian. Year-old Ducati power trying to blitz past a Suzuki. What? A Ducati can't blitz by a Suzuki on the start-finish straight here in Qatar. That just shows you clear evidence.
That is not what we expected you to be saying. Bastianini's having another look. This time he is going to get it done on Joan Mir, who's eased aside into turn 4. He's always had that pace late in a Grand Prix, but he seems to be making his move a little bit earlier.
Taki Nakagami. Likewise, Frankie Morbidelli on his factory Yamaha start in 2022. He's down in 17th. He'll have the inside line and he eases by Marc Marquez on the brakes into the first corner. So Marquez, is he going to first corner in the Grand Prix of Qatar last year? So it's an easy mistake to make. Simon, down to you for some thoughts.
Yeah, just about that braking. They rely on it with their braking marker, but if there's someone in front of them in the braking area, the wings don't work and they...
The line from 6th place on the grid, and he's been happy to make the front running here, of course. There's been missed opportunities, hasn't there, in the past of Polisbar from Brad Binder, still there in 2nd place. Bastianini in 3rd, Marquez 4th, then it's Mir. Aleix
Espargaro picking him off.
Yeah, Mir's getting a bit beaten up here, isn't he? Getting a bloody nose, the former world champion. Miller must have some kind of problem, and as Lewis said, he's dropped all the way back. There's a yellow flag as well.
Yeah, Marco Bezzecchi's dropping down the field, unfortunately. The rookie who's had such an impressive weekend. Bezzecchi has dropped off the tower on the left-hand side of the screen, so we think something may have gone wrong. Mir looking to fight back against Aleix Espargaro. Both Suzukis really in the middle of the battle has entered the gravel track.
Oh, Jack Miller doesn't have a lot of luck, does he, here in Qatar? You remember when that seat worked vibration problem on the right-hand side of his tyre? It was almost launching him to the moon the year for the Australian, when he needs a good start to the year to ensure that he's putting himself at the forefront of the minds of the Ducati management for that coveted fact.
Off the lead at the moment, although that top 4 do appear to be getting a little bit of breathing space out of the front, but it just underlines how competitive Motogp is in 2022.
Giannini will be holding the top 3 places with world champion Fabio Quartararo in 9th and runner-up last year Pecco Bagnaia in 10th. Still a bit of a 10-metre exclusion zone around Jack for a few minutes.
Yeah, this isn't the red mate Marc Marquez. Will that still give up good grip at the end of the race? Brad Binder perhaps sitting pretty in 2nd place, but they're way out of contention at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose the big question in terms of victory hopes here, can behind his teammate Joan Mir. He in turn then's got about 4/10 back to Marc. Confident in his race pace on the factory of Aprilia. The pace then drops to a 1:54.465. Here's the...
Say a cuss word and the word electronics.
That's really cruel for Jack.
TM were in a world of trouble. They seemed in all sorts of problems. Seemed in a world of trouble back in pre-season testing. They made a step forward at the Mandalika test, but we never thought that we'd see Brad Binder.
Well, now trying to get the switches, aren't they? Switch the mappings to try and maybe preserve a bit more tyre life as we get into the 2nd half of this Grand Prix.
Miguel Oliveira looks like that's on the outside of turn 1.
Well, unfortunately, this just continues his horrendous run. He scored just 9 points in the last 9 races of last year with 4 DNFs, and unfortunately...
Whether Marc Marquez is just sitting pretty in 4th place, he seemed to want to talk his chances down over the course of the weekend of challenging for the win and for the podium. It's pretty clear at this...
Of course, the boss of the Grazzini team, the widow of the late former 125cc world champion Fausto Grazzini, fantastically carrying on. Fausto, can't believe it. What a disastrous night for the Ducati Lenovo team. Jack Miller already out, and bitterly he runs over to console Jorge Martin.
Espargaro, look, he's already looking if he's making a bit of a gap out of the front. He's a 1/4 of a second, 3/4 of a second, should I say, clear.
Joyous. They took their first ever podium lockout in Valencia in their Grand Prix history since they arrived on the red bike so far this weekend. Now they're just still moving.
Yeah.
Some of the debris, aren't they? That's why the yellow flags have still been acting so good, so strong at the front of this Grand Prix still.
Let's quickly get a tech observation from Simon.
Switch it down to lower power to do the race till...
Yeah, thanks for that, Simon. You just wonder now whether Bastianini, Marquez and Aleix Espargaro got to find a way through on Brad last year, but Bastianini sweeps on through. Beast mode engaged yet again. He knew he had to make that move. He could see Pol Espargaro just starting to put a bit of daylight at the...
Can he now close the gap on Pol Espargaro, and crucially, can Marc Marquez quickly make the move? Bastianini wide, he's just going to hold it. Marc Marquez
as well, so Enea Bastianini is still, of course, doing an amazing job as we come into the final sector on this lap 14.
Yeah, much of that lap that lead that Bastianini lost, those 3/10 in that second half of the lap. Pecco Bagnaia, the pre-season title favourite, no points.
This was Fausto Gresini's dream. He'd put all the foundations in place to bring back his own team.
Yeah, we know what happened, but I think Jorge was rather lucky. He might be sore tomorrow, but
will be in the podium places at 2/3 distance in this Grand Prix is quite exceptional. You rode on board a moment ago with the world champion Fabio Quartararo. That gap now under a second.
Fabio Quartararo at the moment, history. This is 136 MotoGP start. He's never had a single win. I think Pol Espargaro had it in him. They didn't think he had this resolve. They didn't think he had this speed. But here he is, putting up a...
Now, it is 0.8 of a second. So Bastianini is starting to close in. But another rider with good late race pace.
Espargaro, there's nothing wrong with the top speed of that factory Aprilia as well. Can we see the Espargaro brothers soon to be fighting together for the podium? Only ever happened twice before MotoGP since Nobuatsu and Takuma Ryoki at Imola back in 1997. 25 long years ago. 5.5 to go. Binder at the moment looks like he is able to streak away from Marc Marquez.
Here comes Aleix Espargaro up the inside and he leaves an elbow on Marc Marquez.
Giannini, we talked about it so many times last year. He was the master of tyre preservation. How many times did he come from so far back? He's just set the fastest lap of the fence. Pol Espargaro trying desperately to cling on here to what will be a famous victory. On course though for an emotional win will be the
2022 season, and we have two riders battling it out for their maiden Grand Prix victory in the class.
Yeah, now he's going to try and use a bit of Ducati. He's not through choice, of course. He's potentially on course to win the season-opening Grand Prix here in Qatar. They come through the fast right-handers. Put the attack at turn 15. No, he's not going to take the big risk. It just looks...
A shake from the nose of that Honda for Pol Espargaro as he came round turn 14, but here's where we expect them straight past Pol Espargaro. Can Pol Espargaro get back past? Does he have any grip on the brakes to get past? No. Bastianini gets his stop to Pol Espargaro. In fact, runs wide. Brad Binder's in second. Pol Espargaro's got back on in third. He's just managed to hold up his brother, but yeah,
now, what an emotional win this would be. Oh, this team was set up by Fausto.
But this is the rider that they're all trying to catch, and Enea Bastianini continuing to lap pretty solidly in the 155s. Brad
worked out, although at the moment he's hanging on to the podium. He's coming under pressure though from his older brother Pol Espargaro. There's a bit of bragging rights at stake here, as well as 16 points for the race. A 154.6, that was 0.8 faster than Fabio Quartararo. So Quartararo actually might lose.
On this final lap is between the two Espargaro brothers. Here they are. Pol Espargaro running in third position.
And he hopes behind him. The tears are already flowing. We can't underestimate MotoGP. He loved and lived for racing, and there his Enea Bastianini has just over 5.3 kilometres to go between him.
Lose this one. Brad Binder though, second place incoming for the first Grand Prix of the season for the factory kit.
Enea Bastianini on the Gresini Racing Ducati, the year-old GP Ducati 21. He threatened this when he topped the top.
Right the way down to the checkered flag, but only 2 more corners to go. Enea Bastianini just needs to keep it smooth.
Reign supreme in the Middle East. What an emotional victory for Enea. Espargaro does indeed hang on for third spot. Aleix Espargaro takes fourth. Did get Quartararo on the last lap. We'll just pause for a moment. At garage. Tears start flowing, and you can understand why. What an incredible former team boss at Fausto Gresini, the man who gave him his big break in Grand Prix racing as a Moto3.
History made on the